My name is Danielle Atcheson. I am a certified nutritionist, a lifestyle medicine specialist, and a health and wellness, board certified health and wellness coach. I am a former Fortune 500 executive and now founder of One Degree Health. And so I'm super excited to be bringing to you the next installment of Wellness Wheel Wednesday, which is my 12-week series going through all 12 of the dimensions of health to help you get from where you are to where you want to be with your health through the power of small habit changes. Okay, so with that, I'm super excited for this. We are in video 3, where we are talking about dimension 2. So this is my healthy food choices. This dimension is looking at your food choices all around. So when you're at work, when you're home, when you're traveling, vacation, or for work travel. So what does that look like, right? So in this particular video, I want to talk through a little bit about the healthy food choices and what I specialize in and what I focus in with my clients as a functional nutritionist. And what does that mean, right? So as a functional nutritionist, I look at food as medicine, right? You've heard that the Hippocrates quote, let food be thy medicine, and that's what a functional nutritionist looks like. And so, besides just a nutritionist may look at your macros and such, I would really look at it of taking away all of the details and minutia behind the physical amounts of things that you're eating and look at what is the food that you're doing and how is it affecting you? Is it impacting your health in a positive way or is it impacting it in a negative way? And most people are eating what we call the standard American diet, right? And let me show you a visual. Um, so there's the standard American diet, and I actually like to call it SAD, right? So standard American diet, and it is sad because we're not getting the nutrients that we need. Where our food is very tan and brown and white. So if you look at kind of the typical American diet, is burgers, French fries, fried chicken, turkey. If you think of Thanksgiving, almost everything is kind of brown or tan, et cetera, and so pizza. So all of those are very brown and tan, and so the lack of nutrients is really causing a lot of the health issues that we see in individuals. A lot of that can be stemmed or has been proven is related to our actual diet. So that's why it's one of the main areas that I focus in with my clients going in, that they may be coming in to say, oh, my sleep issue, I have some sleep issues. I want to work out more. There may be all those pieces, but when we really look at it, we look at their diet is maybe more on the spectrum of closer to being the typical standard American diet, and seeing that their inability to sleep, their inability to have energy to go work out, all stems back to what they are eating, right? And so I actually want to show you a visual. This is a prop that I shared in the very first video. I think it was. No, it was that in video number 2 when I talked about how healthy we feel. I showed you this diagram. This is an actual client who came to see me in September, and this was her initial wheel. And then 4 weeks later, after focusing in on 2 of the dimensions, this is her wheel just 4 weeks later. You can see how many other pieces of dimensions had improved. Now, the 2 that we worked on specifically we're looking at how healthy do you feel. We're looking at reducing down her cholesterol. We're looking to reduce down her blood sugar, those particular lab markers. But mainly it was also looking at how can we improve your food. And so, but just by focusing in here on how can we improve your diet, especially while she's traveling a ton for work as well as personal. And we see by focusing in and adding in some really sort of key pieces, and I'll share one of those with you today as your micro step, by adding in a couple of those pieces, not removing, just adding, that we've impacted all these other areas, right? So one of her other big concerns is sleep, inability to get to sleep, waking up in the middle of the night, unable to get back to sleep. And all of that we were able to really improve in just those 4 weeks with the power of food. Okay, so hopefully I've intrigued you on that. I want to share a little bit more. I just sort of popped this up. This is my my health shift spectrum. So this is what I created, and I work with clients on when we talk about how healthy are your food choices. And so it's very important to me that we don't look to first remove foods from your diet. That's what other practitioners would do and say, hey, you got to stop eating gluten, stop eating dairy, stop eating all that stuff. And yes, eventually you do want to get there, but it's hard when you first are going from like saying the standard American diet and now saying you're going to take all that stuff away. The person feels deprived. They feel like they can't have anything. They feel like they're on a diet. And then after, maybe a set amount of weeks, maybe it's, 4 weeks or 6 weeks, maybe even 2 weeks, they then go, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Give me the hamburger, give me the fries, give me the potato chips. That's what I want to eat. So instead, I like to look at it where what can we add in to the diet, or then we can actually crowd out some of the other not so good items off of our plate, if that makes sense. So right in here, this is my spectrum. So we look at, I want to get you from SAD, so the standard American diet, over to happy. And yes, I love my acronyms. So wanting to first, we want to look at first, what can we add more of into our diet? Then we can then crowd out some other pieces off of our plate, and I'll go into that in a second. And then we look at what can we be reducing or moving. So we're looking at, all right, what can we be doing across this spectrum? And I'll show you a better visual of that. So it's with it highlighted. So my first focus is always, let's look here. What can we add more of? And then what will naturally fall off the plate that's crowded out, okay? So there's a few things that you can do that you can add into your diet that will give you additional nutrients that you need, et cetera, and that will help you improve your health without having to really remove anything quite yet, right? So our step one, the whole point of this Wellness Wheel Wednesday series is to give you the simple action items that you can be taking. And so my very first one to you is going to be to add in more nutrients into your diet. Now, overall, this is my spectrum that I use and work with clients. So there's a lot of different things that you can start to add in. But for all of you, I really want you to focus in on just one thing here. And you can see this here. This is your veggies. So let me describe the spectrum real quick. So when we're looking to go across, from the sad to the happy, right? So from the sad over here off the chart over here to happy, which is your ideal place, which is almost utopian. It may be really hard to really ever get there, but we work on the spectrum that can help you get there, right? So these are things that we're adding in and then really doing very well in and before we hit the next step, okay? So we want to start at this particular step. So it'll be step one. Then we have that nailed down. We want to go to step two, then step three, step four. Maybe we're not doing so well between there. We go back to step three. You get the point. So what I want you to do for this week's micro action, and this isn't just for this week, I want you to start adding this in as a regular habit, is that for your vegetables, I would love to just have you start here at step two. And that is, if you can see it, eat your vegetables every day, at every meal, excuse me. So eat your vegetables at every meal. And for many of you, you might be like, oh my gosh, I don't eat anything like ever. And if that's the case, then come back down to step one of the vegetables. And can you at least get a vegetable a day? Can you just eat vegetables whenever you have an opportunity to do that? I don't care what kind they are. They can't be in the form of French fries or potato chips. But so I do sort of care with that. But so you just get something in your diet a day. So my thing I say here is, can you have a minimum of one salad a day? Okay. If you have that down, then come over here to step two. Can you get vegetables at every meal? Now, for some of you, you may say, oh my gosh, how does one do that for breakfast, right? And so that could be, can you do like a green smoothie for breakfast, or have a protein shake where you add in like spinach or some other vegetables and such? And that may sound gross to some of you. They're like, spinach in my breakfast or spinach in my protein shake. And trust me, you won't even taste that it's there, and you get your serving of vegetables for breakfast. For some of you, may be like, how am I going to get that at lunch? Well, you're going to bring in your lunch to work, so you have some control over that, or look for places or some that are near you, like a fast casual place, like maybe like a Chipotle, where you can have more of a salad option or more vegetable options, right? And then I think a lot of people feel that dinner is probably one of the easiest ones to get vegetables at, because you can have like your side of broccoli, you can have a side salad, you can make it be primarily a salad dinner, for example. So yeah, so that's where I want you to go, and make a commitment to yourself to have a vegetable at every meal, or look to how you will have a vegetable at every meal. So first prepare, and then next go ahead and go get vegetables at every meal. If you're someone that you're like, I've got this, I do that already, then please reach out to me and I'll reveal for you steps 3 or even steps 4 to really help you create goals around adding vegetables. And so, Mama always said, eat your greens, right? And it is so important to have our nutrients. When you took the Wellness Wheel quiz, you saw on the very first page, so at onedegreehealth.com/wellness wheel, I have a quote, and it's a quote from a recent study done at Mayo Clinic. So it was back in 2016. They did a study, and they found that less than 3% of Americans are considered to live a healthy lifestyle. And that is primarily based on the food choices that they are making. And so less than 3%. So we all need help in this area. And it's the lack of having the nutrients and the phytonutrients in our diet that are affecting our health. They're creating dis-ease because we don't have these nutrients that are fighting the things that are happening in our body, the radicals that are happening and coming into our body, and oxidation of our cells. And I could just go on, and I don't want to have this go totally over all your heads right now. But my point being is that if you can just look to add vegetables to every meal and make that your goal. And if that's the only thing you get out of this Wellness Wheel series, you will see tremendous benefits from it. As I showed before, I had a client that was one of the first things that we worked on. And this is just in 4 weeks later, improved sleep, more energy, able to go work out now because there's more energy, able to go to sleep, able to get up and have had a restful morning. And it really links back to the food choices. So that's Wellness Wheel Wednesday for today. It is one of my most favorite topics to talk about, the food that we use as medicine and to really treat our health. And then looking at how we can then add in the better options while then crowding out the other not so great options without feeling that we are depriving ourselves or have moved ourselves to be on a diet, right? It's all about making changes for life. And so this is definitely a habit that you want to be able to implement and have for life. So again, Danielle Atcheson for Wellness Wheel Wednesday. Comment below if you have any questions, or I would love to see how are you implementing your vegetables in your meal. What are you doing for your breakfast? What are you doing for your lunch? What are you doing for your dinner where you're getting these vegetables? And yeah, you might be asking in your head right now of like, do they need to be green? Do they need to be like, what kind of vegetables? And right now, just focus on the act of getting a vegetable. I don't care what color. I don't care what form, with the exception being French fries and potato chips, but just aim to get a vegetable in your diet at every meal. And then from there, we work through the spectrum in future videos where I'll share and reveal other aspects you can do to improve your nutrients. Okay. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you next week. All right. Bye.